Ooh, I don't know if we're live yet. And this is why I went early for technical difficulties. I think we're live. Ooh, ooh. I don't know if we're live yet. No, I'm catching my feedback. There we go. Hi, everybody. How we doing today? Welcome to my first ever YouTube live. What? Hi, Kathy. Yay. Okay, it's working. You're here. If you build it, they will come. That's what they say, right? No for me. Oh, good. It's gonna pop in here. So I have to. I was wanting to watch the live feed and also the chat. This is Y'all bear with me tonight. This is my first time ever doing this in YouTube. I'm so thankful for those of you that showed up. I'm early. I wanted to come early because I was stressed. And I hope that everyone finds their way here. If not, we'll get our way through it. But I'm happy to already see a bunch of you on. So welcome. Welcome to the first Elevate live stream. I mean, it was always live from Zoom, but you know what I mean? This is live to the universe. I'm so happy you're all here. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday in the Burr months. We're here. We've made it. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. My name is Laura DeVega, and I have got crazy hair today. We're just getting into it. We're just dealing with it. Humidity is a real thing. I see more people jumping in now. Um, if this is your first time here, my name is Laura DeVega. I am the Director of Agency Development at World Via Travel Network, and I host these sessions every Thursday because I've been in the industry 14 years. And what I have found consistently, hi, Anthony. So, what I have found consistently when I'm out in the universe, and when I have met so many of individuals like yourself, is that there is just not a place for personal and professional development for travel advisors. So, when I was given the opportunity to come and share that with all of y'all, I presented it to World Via. They're like, "Yep, put it out to the world." Oh, hi, Doug! It's your first time live. Well, welcome. My voice gets significantly lower as time goes on. Anthony and Kathy can attest to that. I really appreciate being active in the chat, so please chat away as we're going through. I'm so excited to make this change into going. Oh, there's Ellie. There's Employee of the Month. Since Doug is your first time here, it's probably formal to introduce you to her. She shows up all the time but does no work, so that's why she's always Employee of the Month. She might bark at one point too because I close her in. We never know what's going to happen. But again, I see more people are coming in now. So again, I got on a little early just to make sure, since this was my first time in YouTube Live, I wanted to make sure everything went as it should. I am going to test some things out with you guys tonight, so bear with me. I hope this works because this is a new system for me. I've got some fun things I can play with. I'm hoping they work. We're going to find out now where people are coming in. I want Kathy, you or my girl, I need you to tell me, do you hear the cheering that I'm playing right now? Do you guys hear that? Or is that just me? Because I am excited to use it and I don't know if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, I will work on making sure it is heard in the future. And again, if it did work, yay for applause. Because it's my first time. Anyone that's in here, tell me you couldn't hear it. All right. Well, we move on. Okay. So again, I'm in a new platform for this. So if there's some technical issues throughout the way, just bear with me. Know that I'm trucking through and I'm trying my best, and we'll get to better as time goes along. Tonight we're going to get into adventure travel. Hi, Jennifer. I don't know how many of you already currently book adventure travel, or maybe book adventure travel and don't even realize you are booking it already. So tonight we're getting into kind of how to dip your toes in it. This is the last of this series. We talked through luxury, we talked through cruising, we talked through groups. Time we're getting into adventure travel. Uh, you can hear, but the difference, Jennifer, is could you hear the clapping? Is that what you said you could hear? Is that possible? Maybe. Anyways, this is the end of this series, and then next week I'm very excited. I'm changing what we're kind of getting into starting next week, and the first topic, little known fact, 100 days to the end of the year is September 23rd, I believe. And I'm a big believer in setting yourself up for success in the last 100 days of the year so that you walk into the next year ready to go. So I'm preempting this in the beginning, so you know about it, and then you'll know about it. You'll know about it when the message goes out for next week. Also really want to quickly, if you are new here, Doug, I know you said you are. I see a bunch of new people in here, so I want to make sure everybody's aware of where to go. We do have a Facebook group. All the episodes, if in case you have to pop off at any point in time or you want to catch up on old episodes, because we have a ton of them now. We've now been doing this for over a year. I'm so thankful for all of you all showing up and so incredibly grateful. I see I got a little bit of a delay there, so hopefully it catches up with me. Ooh, maybe I won't be frozen. There we go. I think it's because I tried to get the Facebook group while I was talking. I can't do too much. I don't want to overexcite her. But if you are not familiar, we have a Facebook group, so all the past episodes will be in there. You'll see what new episodes are coming down the road. You can see what might be coming up because there's some other fun, exciting things coming down the road. Let me see if this pops into the chat. If I pop it in here, if not, I will pop it in to a different chat, but that's okay. Oh, and I just lost my screen. Again, I knew there was going to be technical difficulties. I just got to bear with it. If you are not part of World Via Travel Network, also, oh, it popped in. Beautiful. Perfect. Okay. So if you are not part of World Via Travel Network, you do not have to be. I do this open to the public. I want everybody and all my travel friends from around my years. Like I said, I've been in the industry a long time and I'm very thankful. Oh, I could show this on the screen. Oh, I lost it. Oh, well. Oh no, there it's back again. Let's try it. Let's show it on the screen for a little bit. Oh, that's an ugly, that's an ugly link, but I'm excited that it worked. Actually, I'm going to see if it worked. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so we'll see if it pops. If it doesn't, not an issue. I just wanted to have a space where I could offer this out to everyone, not just to members of our network. So if you have travel friends that are looking for a space, looking for people that they can bounce ideas off of, grow with themselves, this is the place to do it. All right, we are about to end right around 7:05, and that's when I like to get started with what we're going to talk about. So again, tonight we're getting into adventure travel. So if you're already booking adventure travel, what are you booking? Who do you love? What's working? What's not working? And like I was already saying a little bit, you may not even know you already kind of are booking adventure travel, but what I can tell you from the bottom of my heart is this is the new wave of travel. Okay. It is whether you are, it was kind of like a few years ago when COVID happened and everyone was going to, Caribbean, Mexico, because it's where we could go. Right. And then when we were able to travel again, everyone was like, all right, I'm going to Europe. And then cruising just blew up. You could not get enough of cruising. Adventure travel, I just see it's creeping its head back here. It is headed in the right direction. Right. So, what I will say with that is, it's always so incredibly important to be prepared for new trends and things that come along the way. My presentation will go up in a second, guys. I'm having some technical difficulties here, so once I can pull it up, I will pop it up. But so adventure travel is coming for us, whether you're ready for it or not. And like I said, it's everyone thinks that a specific kind of is looking for adventure travel, and I dare say that's not the case. When I am on a trip, I'm always shocked to see who's doing the more adventure pieces, who's getting active in those spaces. Sometimes it's not me. Sometimes I am too darn tired. I'm not interested. And then sometimes the people you least expect it. So don't assume because you have a client that doesn't seem like an adventure traveler that it wouldn't excite them or interest them. You'll find all that out by asking the right qualifying questions, right? We talk about qualifying questions a lot in here. I don't know the last time you sat down and looked at the qualifying questions you ask, or whether you have a form on your website or however you pull in that information, whether it's an intake form or if it is just off of your memory. I highly recommend you kind of write that down, see what that looks like for yourself, and evaluate it, because I'm a big believer in self-evaluation. It might have been working for a bit and then not working, and you have to kind of like look and see, oh, is this question getting answered the right way? Am I asking it the right way to get the right answers? That's really important. Here we go. Presentation is back up. Now you listen to my terrible singing. All right, full screen. Let's get this up here. I'm going to share the screen with it for a bit so you can see what I have up there. Don't stress if you cannot see the words, guys. I will post the slides in the Facebook group if you add yourself in there, so you can check that out at any point in time. So don't stress. Don't feel like you have to write notes That's not what we're going for. Okay, let me see here. Let me share my screen again. Bear with me. New tools, very exciting. But share. Nope, it wants me to do it this way. So we're gonna share my screen. There was an option to share my presentation. I thought that would have been more fun, but I don't have that version as it happens. All right, here we go. Let's get into it. Ooh. Let me know if you see it. I think I'm up. Okay, it says I'm sharing. I'm going to roll with it. I do want to switch my layout a bit. I'm going to do that mid conversation again. And these are the moments where I need you to be patient with your Laura today. Oh, perfect. Perfect. I just want picture in picture. Speaker split screen. Oh, she's gorgeous. She's beauty. She's great. She's Miss United States. Does anyone know what that's from? Or is this just a me thing? No, you can't see the presentation. I probably haven't fully clicked it on yet. That's why. And there we go. Thank you. I'm gonna try speaker. We're gonna keep with picture in picture. We're gonna go with this. We're gonna go with this. Okay. So, how to tap into a growing market of adventure travel. My email is down the bottom. I popped this up in the beginning. Feel free, any questions you have, please ask them in the chat as we're going through. But that being said, if you have questions after, my email is the way to go. Oh, that made me small when I did that. No, we want to go back to speaker split screen. See, this is how we're learning. So that is my email. It's laura@worldvia.com. It does not have to be questions about this session. It could be questions about any session. Most congeniality, Jennifer got it. Pew, 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 pew. If I had an air horn, I would play it. Or if I knew how to play the media sounds, I would play it. I'll work on that for next week. We say that in my house often. She's beauty, she's great, she's Miss United States. Okay, so let's get into our presentation. Come on. There she goes. All right. So why adventure travel is a game changer. So 65% of travelers are seeking more meaningful travel experiences. What do I mean by that? So first and foremost, it is the fact that we're noticing even in the back end on our host agency that people aren't just looking to flop and drop anymore. That's my preferred method of travel. That's not everyone's preferred method of travel. And 65% of people are going, I want more than just to go sit on a beach and do nothing. That is okay for you. Still, I would like to do that. But I get it because I'm even feeling that myself. And we're seeing it in our sales, actually. We are seeing more and more people want to be more active, have more activities, do more things. It's just because this is a hypothetical theory. It is my own theory that we had to sit still for so long during COVID. We do not want to do it any longer. Life is too short, right? So we want to be able to get out and do those things. That's incredibly important. So people are looking for more meaningful ways to travel. They're also the exciting thing about adventure travel is there is a higher spend on this. So if you're looking to grow your business in substantial ways, there is a way to do it with adventure travel. Robin, you are correct. Scuba, canyoning, bungee jumping. I immediately, when I remember I was doing adventure travel today, thought of you, Robin, because you are her. So if you don't know Robin, her niche is scuba. And that is a perfect example of adventure travel, right? There are many versions of adventure travel, but that is it in a nutshell. So, and high dollar amounts on these kind of trips because it's not just the hotel, right? So it is a lot of times the hotel or resort, it's their airfare, it's your excursion. Sometimes it's your rental of the tools you need for your activity. Sometimes it is the extra little excursion sidebar things that you're doing. Sometimes it's renting a tour guide to take you on these things. There's a lot of little extra things that come into place with adventure travel, depending on the kind of adventure travel, of course, because there are some group ones that are everything's in there. But still, even ones where everything's in there, that dollar amount is higher, which is what, again, I talk about profit drivers a lot and positioning your business in a way for it to be successful and good repeatable business. And good repeatable business is business that is high dollar amount. And now there is some work with adventure travel. I don't want to pretend like this is a copy paste for everyone because everyone that's adventure traveling wants something slightly different, right? Someone might want to bike here, they might want to hike there, they might want to cook with Nona in Italy Italy somewhere else. You have to kind of keep those things in mind, but the dollar amount is high, which is great for growing your business. And generally, when you're building, if you're building more of an FIT style, then you should absolutely building in a service fee and a planning fee for this, and then you're getting a higher return on investment on it, right? And a loyalty, what, because it's just gonna build repeat clients and referrals for you. If you qualify right on an adventure traveler and you hit all those important pieces of all the things they wanted to see and do, you're going to have a life client. You're going to have a client because they're going to go, oh, she listened, she knew, he did this, he knew, he called ahead, he was prepared. Like those are things that they're priceless. You can't put a dollar amount on them, and they're going to come back for that reason. And again, it's not just for adrenaline junkies. There is a misconception that adventure travel is for the people that want to jump off cliffs, like Robin said. Can you jump off a cliff? Of course you can. I've traveled and gone skydiving. Not everybody needs to, right? That's not what it is. It's also cultural immersions is considered adventure travel. You'll hear me mention G Adventures a lot. I just really love their brand. I love what they put out there. They have very cool, unique tours. One of the tours they have, you go and you can stay in different, I forget what they call it. But you go, we talked about it months ago. I populated one to you guys, but you go and stay in like on a like a little like a winery, like a small family's home essentially for the week, and you learn to cook with them, you get involved in their life, you learn their day to day, you do what they're doing. Like that is adventure travel in every way, shape, and form. Just because you're not jumping out of an airplane, it's still adventurous because you're learning with someone, you're doing something out of your comfort zone. It's different. So don't always think that there needs to be a high dopamine with it, and there will be dopamine right from the personal interaction, but it's a very different thing. And people are just getting more and more adventurous, and there's all kind of cool things you could be doing. Come on, slide. In that brief moment. If you can't tell by how fast I'm talking, we are in spooky season, which means this is not a plug, but I'm drinking my Alani Witch's Brew, which means I'm talking at a faster speed. So I sincerely apologize. If you need me to repeat something, tell me. Um, Trends driving this surge. So what is bringing adventure travel out? One, health and wellness focus, right? This was big pre-COVID, but man, has it come out full force post-COVID. People want to feel good about themselves. People care about self-care. They're putting themselves first. And a lot of that is in the health and wellness focus. If anything that's physical falls into that health focus, right? Doing things to push your comfort zone a little, whether it's hiking. There's a trail in Spain, you could hike for like 40 or walk for like 40 some miles. Like there's different things you could be doing that's, getting yourself out into nature, doing different things that sit in this health and wellness focus. But also it's just like even more so yoga retreats are huge, Robin. And the locations for them are just expanding. Resorts are building in spaces for this. They're accommodating to different guests that want to be doing these things. So health and wellness is huge. And we'll talk about it later, but what's great about yoga retreats and things of that nature is you have a bank of individuals to work from with that. You can go to a gym or a health spa and say, hey, are you interested in doing a wellness retreat? Maybe we'll go to, it could be to Tulum or it could be to Bali, right? Like the locations are endless. Then you can add in different excursions, do different things. It's a very, very cool thing. All right, I want to try something. I'm trying something out today, guys. Bear with me. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and I'll come back and share because I want to try and go back and forth as I go through this because that was up for a second. Other things that people are getting into is revenge travel. We've heard this, right? This has been out in the market for a while. It was a post-COVID initiative. Oh, yes, St. Lucia, Bali, Costa Rica are great for yoga. Absolutely, Robin. I shouldn't say post-COVID initiative, but revenge travel really came significant post-COVID. And because people were angry. We had to stay in, I feel like I've said COVID way too many times for one training session, but it's a reality today. We got to deal with it. But people were angry post-COVID. They wanted to get out. I was angry. I had a trip booked the weeks before the world shut down, or weeks after that I didn't get to go on. And I sure as heck was planning my trip when I got out. And that trip was bigger and better. And that's what we're catching is people going, What if something happens again? We don't want it to. It's never going. We're more prepared than we ever were. That's not where my headspace is at. But people are now in the headset of I want to go to Italy now because I almost couldn't go to Italy, right? I want to go to St. Lucia now because I don't want to have a time where I can't go to St. Lucia, right? So they're having this headspace of like I got to get it in there. Like it's not a bucket list anymore. It's a now list. Where am I going? I find it so interesting out in the culture right now. You see so many people going, "Oh, I checked that off my bucket list. I checked this off my bucket list." Where bucket list was supposed to be a thing when you were on your deathbed, right? But now everyone is living life. They're going out to their fullest. They're doing the things. And that is driving the surge. People want to do crazy things like Everest Base Camp. They want to go and do the sail the Greek Isles on a yacht. They want to take the yachts to the Galapagos. They want to feel things. They want to see things. They want to do things. And they're able to do this with this surge of adventure travel and different suppliers really stepping up to the plate and providing the opportunity to do that. We didn't have these opportunities for a long time, and more providers are coming out and saying, we're going to do this. We do this. Even a great example, Silver Seas with their Antarctica. We were talking about that last week or the week before with their hotel they're building for the Drake Shake and all that. Like people are just stepping in, suppliers are stepping in, they know where the market's going, and it's really incredible to see, in my opinion. Another thing is authenticity and connection. Ooh, Jennifer, I had my son a week before the world shut down, and he came home 2 days. But oh my goodness, I can't even imagine what your world was like, Jennifer. I don't envy you, but I'm sure you had a lovely time home with them. But man, it had to be scary. Listen, it was a different time, and there's things if I'm fully honest, there were moments that I was so close with my family during that time period that I was like, well, that was kind of nice for a minute. Like it was just the four of us in our little unit, which was quite lovely. I was in I know everyone shut down differently during that time. I'm in the Northeast, so we really shut down up here, and it was quite lovely. We were like hear the birds in the morning. It was like a beautiful thing. Oh, you were on a cruise, Bill. I had a friend. So I talked about the Golden Girls cruise last week. I had a friend who was on the Golden Girls cruise, and a little tidbit I did not give to you guys is it was going on in the first week of COVID, or the first couple weeks of COVID, we were pretty convinced our friend was Agent Zero. That is a joke, but also like I can't even imagine being in a cruise ship in that time. Did you get stuck on board? Like, was that I can't? Woo, goodness, I can't. Anyways, another thing is authenticity and connection, right? So why people are getting into adventure travel. Oh, Ellie is upset about the door. Hopefully, if she starts to bark, I apologize. I'm gonna try and get someone to come get her. And you're hearing me terrible sing again. Come get Ellie. She'll start to bark and get loud, so I gotta take this minute. Come get Ellie. Ellie. Okay, sorry, sent. Technology is a beautiful thing to be able to do this in both spaces. Okay, so authenticity and connection, and I say this, I kind of when I referenced earlier, there's I talked about the G Adventure tours where they're like immersive and you're living in that space. There's just something everyone anymore, I feel, and this is how I feel when I travel now. I want to experience a destination. I want to know it inside and out. I just did a really cool tour when we were in Puerto Plata, and I'll be honest with you, I have been to Dominican Republic a ton. I got married in the Dominican Republic 12 years ago. I kept saying 10 for a long time, and it's been 12. I think we're on 12 years now. I have to get with the times. But and I love it. I've been a bunch. I think I know it all. And I said this last time, I said, you know what? Let's do something different. And we did a classic car tour, and they drove us around the area, and I saw it from a different perspective. They took us to one of their local restaurants. They took us to different places. I was like, oh, this is how you're supposed to see this destination. So it's a different example. That's not quite adventure, but what I'm getting at is immersing yourself in these experiences provides a whole different way to see and absorb the destination you're in, right? Going and doing a food tour in Italy is going to be a very different experience than if you're on a hop on, hop off bus, right? Going and doing a hiking tour in say Portugal for a great example is going to be a very different experience than just taking a boat tour, right? Like it just that having that immersive moment of being a part of it. Like I said, the cooking. Another great example when I was in Vienna this year, I did a cooking class. We cooked schnitzel and strudel, and we had their local beer, and we were in a local restaurant, and the local chef for the restaurant cooked for it. It was, and amazing experience. It was the way I needed to experience that kind of food because I helped make it. They explained why they make it the way they do and the process of how it came there. It was incredible. Again, we think adventure is just hiking and biking, and it is. It absolutely is. We're going to get into those in a moment, but it also is just stepping out of your comfort zone. Robin, I traveled during COVID with a number of groups. We had to jump through hoops. Oh, I can't even imagine the hoops you had to jump through. I remember there being a point in time where, like, if you are from a World Via Travel Network, Erica, who is the director of member development, the head of our education, her and I are very good friends. And she was convinced for me, she's like, I don't know if we're ever getting out of this. Like, it was a wild time. It was really, really crazy. So, and then another thing what's wonderful about and I I realized I went down the weird road there, but connection is what I mean by that. So, like, again, I was involved with the chefs of this restaurant. I was, I met an individual who lived in Puerto Plata his whole life, and he told me his story. Like, it was just like I felt like I left knowing someone, just not being led by a big group, and we shuffled on to the next thing. It felt really wonderful. And then the big piece of this is the social media aspect, right? The more immersive you get in a destination, the more you're absorbing it, the more you're getting involved. Man, social eats that up. When you are living a real tried and true experience of a destination, that's when you're going to get the interaction you want. Don't get me wrong. Are the images of the front of cruise ships beautiful and exciting? 100%. What is more exciting is them seeing you meet somebody at their home, when they're showing you their vineyard, right? It's what's more exciting is them seeing you at the top of a mountain and you taking the picture from the top down, right? What's more exciting is you're on a speedboat in the middle of I don't know, the Greek Isles. Like, those different things feel very, very cool. You're in Antarctica, you're next to the penguins, whatever it may be. I also This is just a fun story. You guys know I derail. If you're new here, I apologize. Erica, again, speaking of her, she went to Australia this year and showed me there is like an island of penguins, and that's a new life goal for me, is to see this beach full of penguins. Just so we're clear. Uh, okay, next thing. Let me go to the next slide and see if I'm going to pop this back up on the screen here for y'all. Uh, Actually, I'm going to keep it down for a minute. I'm going to talk through this a bit. So another key piece, actually, no, I'll share for the word's a little small, but I'll share for a second so you can see it. So another key piece is that there is a misconception that adventure travel is just for the young. I'm just putting it out there. I'm saying it because people are thinking it. You may be thinking it yourself. That is truly not the reality. Okay. So I cannot tell you on the river cruises I've been on how much more I'm seeing of the what is considered like boomers and golden generation on these active excursions, biking, hiking, high intensity tours and excursions, that they are filled before I can get anywhere near them, right? And that is just a proof. And we have a misconception that we think that people are older, that's not what they want to do. Hard stop. My father is signing up all day, every day for the more exciting tour. He doesn't want to just sit in a classroom. Now, don't get me wrong. Are there accessibility issues that can come into play for certain individuals? Of course. I don't want to deny that or diminish that by any means, but don't count people out. Don't assume. You look at someone, never judge a book by its cover. When I went skydiving, I was next to a man who was there turning 70, and went right with me. Like, there is no age limit on someone's excitement or want to be youthful or want to be joyful. So never count somebody else out in that manner. It's for all age groups. Yes, millennials are in it. Also, I would dare say this is a great way to pull your Gen Z clientele in, because listen, we can pretend all we want, but there's a point where we have to bring them in too. And if you look at statistics, Gen Z is actually more likely to book with a travel advisor because they are more likely to pay for convenience. They know an expert and they will pay for an expert. So don't count them out. I know it's difficult, and sometimes I know it because I work with some and I love them dearly, but everyone operates differently. So you just have to be able to prepare it. Adventure travel is a great way. They want immersive travel. They want to experience destinations. They don't just want to go and sit. And make sure you're prioritizing experiences over luxury, right? It is a misconception that some people think if they, people do want luxury. They want to be comfortable. I will not deny that in any way, shape, or form. I want to be comfortable. But if I am explained to properly what I'm going to experience, I'm much more willing to go, oh, okay, I'll make that sacrifice, right? A great example of this is G Adventures has different, I'm bringing them up again because they do this well. They have different levels of their touring. Some of their tours, you are in a tent in the middle of nowhere. That is not for your, I would say, millennials and up. like, I am buying VIP concert tickets because I need somewhere to sit, right? Don't assume that everyone wants to live that life. Gen Z and below, great. They're going to love that experience. But they also have a comfort level with G Adventures that you book. I think they still call it comfort. And you book in that space and you get the better hotels, the nicer hotels, a little bit of an elevated experience, and they're still getting the adventure piece of it. Also, there's a misconception that luxury isn't adventure. Lies. Tauk is a beautiful example of an excellent tour company that is absolutely adventure, but does it at a beautiful high level. Glamping, absolutely, Robin. Listen, there is a market for glamping. I am the market. Anytime I see an experience that gives me that kind of experience, I am all in. But there are some really incredible tour companies that will offer adventure travel. Abercrombie and Kent is a great example where you're getting a luxury version. So don't think you can't do luxury, but don't think you have to do luxury. Again, this is all in your conversation, in your qualifying questions. Taking that time, asking what they want to experience, because sometimes this is where you're the professional and you have to go, okay, let me explain to you why this isn't going to work. Let me explain how this is going to work for you better, and let me explain to you what we can do instead. Right. And I'm being vague because this could be a million different scenarios. Right. A prime example of this is my daughter wanted to swim with sharks. I know my daughter. My daughter thinks she's Cher from Clueless. I was like, let me break this down for you. We're going to get in this water. You're going to get uncomfortable. You're not going to like that your hair is wet. You're going to get nervous that the shark looks at you funny. And then we're going to have wasted hundreds of dollars. She goes, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. Right now, I had a very real conversation because she's my daughter, but that is your job as the professional to have those kind of conversations with your clients. I've had to have very real conversations with my clients in the past that thought they can do adventure travel, but they might have had accessibility issues, right? You can't do it. Or the other way around, they had this dream of wanting to do something exciting and different and thought they couldn't until I put it into perspective with them. Now, things people that have, you always like and be mindful of issues. Somebody that has breathing issues or has difficulty getting around, we're not going to have them on at Machu Picchu, right? Obviously, like there's things that we know, and you as a professional, you do a little bit of pre-research to not put them in those spaces, not make them uncomfortable, because the only thing that's going to do to you is have a nasty review coming back to you at the end. Don't do it. I say preventative maintenance all the time, consistently. That is the way that you make sure you're set up for success. An ounce of research will take you a long way. Ask for authentic or local experiences. We kind of talked through this, but look to see, are there cooking experiences? Are there are local guides that can take you on the hike? Are there, local festivals that you can experience during a time period when you're there? Things like that. If they're interested in wellness, nature, sustainability, of course. Again, this is kind of spotting your clients. So when they're not sure what they want to do, questions to ask are, what excites you? How did you envision this trip? What did you see yourself doing? That'll help you paint a picture. Again, when we're talking about value over price, you can make sure you get all the things they wanted to do in there, and make sure, like for a good example is people that go to Costa Rica. They're like, I want to see the volcanoes and I want to stay on the beach. Well, if you sell Costa Rica, that's not as easy as it appears. It can be done. I've done it many times for clients, but you have to set a realistic expectation for them, right? That might be a separate tour. They might go and do 2 days closer to the volcanoes and then come down and do the beach, because a tour to the volcanoes is going to be hours in one direction and hours back. Setting expectations is really important, and asking the right questions to your clients is really important. In the history of active or small group travel, if they've already trended in this direction, get in the habit of starting to recommend adventure travel to them. Widen their horizons. The world is not small. There are so many cool things they could be doing, and you're the expert to point them in that direction. What do we got next in here? Top adventure experiences travelers love. So I just kind of want to list some things. I know I talked through a lot of this, so I'll breeze through this because we got actually I'm going to pull this slide down. It's not that exciting. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and kind of talk through this. But experience travelers love, like, one, their soft adventure, right? Which is your hiking, your biking, your kayaking, your snorkeling. That's for baby girls like me. I like a little bit of adventure. I dip my toe in a little bit more adventure on the occasion, but I love a good soft adventure. Great examples of this. You biking. I'm using examples I've done myself or I've had clients do, but biking down Haleakala in Maui. Easy soft adventure. You're mostly hitting the brake pad, like the brake trigger, right? You can do that. I did biking in Vienna. You can kayak in some ocean. I have flipped many a time thinking I'm a better kayaker than I am. I enjoy kayaking. It's one of my favorite pastimes. I've even hiked, like I've done a 3-day kayaking tour. I still ate it hard in the Caribbean Ocean because I thought I would be just fine. So things like that. But snorkeling is a great way for soft adventure, right? Something that's just dipping their toe in, especially because snorkeling makes some people nervous. You don't want to get too crazy. Next step from snorkeling, then you maybe have them do snuba, right? Which is when you don't fully scuba, but you have the tank up on the water and somebody's with you. That's a really cool way for next step, right? Next step into biking might be more like mountain biking. Kayaking, you're getting a little crazy. Maybe you're on a speedboat. I don't know. But that's a good soft adventure to start. Cultural immersions, again, a way to adventure, but still kind of be safe about it. Cooking classes, homestays, local guides. This is a great way just to get them immersed into the culture, but not take them too far out of their comfort zone where they're hurting themselves or something bad can happen, right? I'm going to take a sip really quickly. Wildlife and adventure is another key piece you could be using, right? So how you can use that? Safaris are a huge way, a huge way, my goodness, a huge market. You're going to see the trend. Either people are going to come to you wanting a safari, or you're going to see the trend in your client when they're ready to go on a safari, right? They've done some of the other tours. They're branching out. They're getting crazier. They're getting more adventurous. Get ahead of it. Start looking at options. But I can't tell you anyone that's interested in more exciting travel that doesn't have a safari on their bucket list. I know I do. It's one of my end game ones. I need to do it. There's some incredible companies that will do it. There's some incredible partners. If you are part of World Via Travel Network, we work some incredible partners that have some amazing safari experiences, as well as Travel Leaders Network has some incredible partners that do amazing safari experiences. You can have top-notch experience with them, and they're still very comfortable. Keep them in the high-end lodges, beautiful surroundings, but they're still comfortable. That's a nice way to do adventure, but almost like in the glamping sense. Keep it high end. Eco tours is another way to do it. And also there's like a voluntourism. I didn't list that on the slide. I didn't keep it up for very long. But there's eco tours, which is again, like kind of keeping it environmental friendly. There's a lot of companies that make sure they are environmentally friendly. It's part of their brand standard. G Adventures is one of them. Intrepid Travel is another one of them. And there's a lot of them. It is listed. It's easy to find on the internet. You can find like green hotels, things like that. But tourism is another way where you go into a destination, you assist in areas of need, and then you're in a destination where you may want to adventure in a bit more. And so there's a little bit of tour involved with it. It's a really cool option as well. And then of course there's national parks. So that's kind of derailed from where it's in. But people sometimes think adventure has to be in a different country or in a beautiful, I was about to say a bad thing, in a beautiful destination, because our national parks are truly some of the most beautiful places in the world. Something I'm very proud of myself of in a way is I tried to experience a lot of the United States before I really got too crazy and went in other places. And it also kind of, it's just my trajectory of my life at that time. But like there is nothing like hiking the Rocky Mountains, and you can do it at any level. You don't have to start at the bottom, make all the way to the top. There's little cheater routes you can take. Sedona is one of the most beautiful places I've ever visited in my whole life. There is nothing like those red rocks. Yellowstone is out of this world. Like there are just some really incredible, beautiful destinations, even with the United States. Our national parks are treasures. They should be treasured. So again, when people are getting a bit more adventurous, that's a great place to start, is in our national parks. And then lastly, group adventures. So this can be a lot of different things. There's multi-sport itineraries, women's only trips. So like you can get like maybe a baseball group or a women's group, things of that nature. You'll see a lot of fraternities and sororities go on trips together that get a little bit more adventurous. You'll see girls groups, guy friends, like it doesn't really matter, but small groups tend to get a little bit more adventurous because they've got someone to lean on, right? Um, or on the other end of that, I will say too, you do see a good amount of it in solo travel. They're looking for that community. They get together and they go do something more adventurous, which is pretty cool. Again, don't forget, adventure doesn't mean risky. It just means engaged, involved, interacting. That's really important. Oh, come on. And next slide. Where am I at here? Get my brain in the right place, right? Sustainable adventure travel. So there booking.com, I looked up the statistics, said that 76% of travelers are demanding they want more sustainable options when they're traveling, which is interesting. And I don't know that that could be very vague, right? They're just looking for something that maybe it could be as simple as they just want to make sure people are recycling, but also can maybe make sure they're not pulling from the resources that are surrounding them to properly run their business, right? And sustainability, like, adding value and like sustainability like, oh my goodness, my words are broken. I'm gonna get there. It adds value to the people that they're interested in these things. When you say you've looked into, if they say they're, interested in sustainable travel and you have taken the time to look for the resorts that offer it and look for the tour guides that put that out there and market in their business, and they acknowledge what their carbon offsets are, things like that, that client is going to appreciate you to a level you'll never be able to understand because that's important to them. That's part of their morals. And I know that's going to be a little more difficult. That takes a little bit of extra work, but there are, like I said, there's resources you could find. I'll have to pull it up. I'll put it in the Facebook group. It's a green, I'm broken right now. But they have really great ways to just look up who has sustainable options available and who are doing sustainable initiatives. Virgin Voyage is great with sustainability. There's a lot of them that are really great. Even like it's as simple as like United Airlines, right? Like they make an active choice to recycle versus just throw things out, right? What are people doing with like water runoffs, things like that? It's like sometimes it can get crazy. Costa Rica, there's some really incredible sustainable properties that like reuse anything that comes into the property gets reused on the way out. It's very cool. They're more niche, they're more boutique, they're not like the run of the mill hotels, but there's some really cool things out there. And I don't want to get too specific into different places, but it really depends on the destination and if it is privately owned or if it is corporately owned. And there's different variations of how sustainable individuals will get. But there are some really cool things out there. I'm gonna pop the share screen back up as we get into like how do you become the go-to travel advisor in this space, right? So first things first is I recommend you get certified. So let me pop this back up. Let me take a second there. So how do you get certified? There is a wonderful organization. Oh my goodness, it's Adventure Tourism and hold on. It's ATTA, but I just want to look up exactly what it's called. It is Adventure. I'm sorry, Adventure Travel Trade Association. They have really great training. They have listings of different adventure travel providers. They have FAMs, ATTA, thank you. They've all really cool things that are available to them on their website. I highly recommend if you're interested in getting into adventure travel to check them out. They have certification programs that you can take advantage of. G Adventure, as I already mentioned, they have a certification. Yeah, National Geographic offers adventure travel certifications. There is a lot of really cool places. I believe one of Travel Leader certifications now is adventure travel as well. Like it is just getting bigger and better. So make sure you take the time to certify yourself and learn more about it because I am just doing such a vague overview this evening and there's so much that can be learned in different spaces to do that. And then also the big piece is experiencing it. So take the time next time, and this doesn't even have to be a full out tour. I'm not telling you to go book the most adventurous Globus tour they offer or whatever it may be, or I'm not telling you to go book a backroads tour and bike across Europe by yourself if that doesn't interest you. But what I will say is the next time, um, oh, look at that. It's co-sponsored by fair enough. I didn't realize the National Geographic one was co-sponsored by them, but I love that. So the next time you have any kind of trip, whether it is a cruise, a river cruise, your FIT in Europe, whatever it be, take something a little bit more adventurous, whether that be a cooking class, a more immersive class, a hike, a bike, whatever it may be. Step yourself out of your own comfort zone a little bit to learn more, and experience it yourself, because then you're going to be able to sell it better. And I'm a big believer in you don't have to fully experience a lot of things to be able to sell it, but sometimes having the knowledge in these spaces is incredibly helpful and be able to build the experience for someone that might be nervous about stepping out of their comfort zone, if that makes sense. So like I probably, if I hadn't done the biking down the volcano, I might have been like, oh, you need, it's 20 some miles and it's a long time. And after doing it, I was like, oh, you can do this, baby girl, you're going to be fine. Like you don't need to worry because it is a lot easier than it presented itself to be, right? So your perspective changes on a lot of things when you experience it yourself. So I say get out there. There are a lot of great FAMs and opportunities to experience this kind of travel if you really want to go on a full adventure travel. There are a lot of really great, and I know I've seen a lot of safari fam trips coming up in the travel agent portals and forums and things like that. So keep your eyes open for things. Yes, there is costs associated with those. Don't get me wrong, but the experience you'll get from it, you're never going to be able to forget it, and it's going to help you tenfold. Also, don't forget you can partner up with your top adventure tour operators. A lot of the bigger supplier partners are more than willing to help you partner up to teach. Especially if you have a group of 8 advisors yourself that you want to get a small group together to get in front of a supplier partner if they have the opportunity to train. They're really great about that. And then you could also just making sure you're creating content. I just want to go back and the partner up too. Like it could just not be training yourself and your friend, like your peer advisors. You can get team up with a tour operator to do say a tour night where you go through an itinerary and explain what you could be doing and what the immersive experiences are and what they'll do along the way. And they'll help you with that. So that's a really great way to sell a product. And then also you can create content, right? So make sure when you are if you're looking to have people think of you for adventure, make sure you're putting out niche blogs on adventure topics. Make sure you're making reels that show adventure tours and excursions. Make sure you're putting out webinars that talk about the different tour opportunities and what it's available to them. People don't know. Sometimes, I'll say it to cut off of adventure for a second, but people, when they first go to the Caribbean, they think they want to go to Sandals because it's the only commercial they've seen on the television. It's not because and there's nothing wrong with Sandals. It's just all they know. That's all that's come in their spectrum. So they go, oh, I think I want to go to Sandals. And they might want to go to Sandals, but they might not actually be a Sandals person. They might be better suited for, a Grand Velos. They might be better suited for something else, right? But because they don't know any better, it's kind of like you say Scotch tape, even if it's not Scotch tape, right? They know brands. The brands in the adventure space are not as recognizable to the general public. National Geographic is, which is great, and they're associated with G Adventures. They're associated with Adventures by Disney. That's a little bit of an easier sell. But there's some incredible tour companies out there. Like I said, Backroads Touring. If you have a biker, they're amazing, and people just don't know about them. So that's a big component. I didn't even get down to like the adventure and expedition cruising, but like Hertogrutten and HX, their product blows my mind. If you start sharing some of their content in your socials, they have scientists on board their cruise ships. It's immersive to a level that is I can't even. I want to go on an HX cruise so badly. I'm a nerd, and that very much excites me. But there's just so many different options out there that people just aren't familiar with the brands, and that's your job as the professional to let them know about it. Cool. So how do you break in or deepen your niche, right? So one, you create a dedicated landing page. That's a great place to start. So if you have a current website that you run and then you have a multi-page website where you can add a different page to it, that's a great way to do it. You can go ahead and add a separate section that is like say adventure travel, put some good imagery on there, put some videos on there, get some supplier partners on there. I also dare say to know what you want to put in those spaces, pull your audience, do this in your social channels. What adventure travel excites you? Do you know about this adventure cruise? Do you know about this bike tour? Have you seen you can, live in a winery for a week? I'm using very specific examples because they just happen to be in my brain, but ask questions, get to know your audience. Because when someone says, oh, if you put something out there, I know when I was an advisor, one time I put out a message online and I said, I just want 10 people that are excited about doing something different, doing a tour that they've never done before, getting out of the country, not to the Caribbean, Mexico, to Europe or a longer haul destination. Pop your name in here. I want to send you some info. I have 30 people that were like, actually, I want to know more what you're talking about. So then, and I asked when I had a little questionnaire that kicked back to them. I said, what is a destination you dreamed about going to? With that little bit of information, I was able to build what I could be putting out into my socials to stir interest. That's an easy lift for you to do. Forms are free through Google Forms. You can do polls on Facebook and Instagram. There's ways to gather this information, and it's an easy way to pull it, and then you know what to put out in your socials. Feature one destination monthly. This is an easy way to one teach yourself in a slower, like fashion. But then also, oh, what's going on here? There we go. A slower fashion, but also help your clients absorb it in a slower fashion, right? So you start to say, maybe you start baby steps, Costa Rica, right? What destinations might people want to travel to? Post some information about the volcanoes, the different lodges and places they could stay up in the mountains and then down by the resorts. Explain to them the time difference. Explain to them the different tours. Explain to them it's a rainforest and when's a rainy season, when not a rainy season. You have a ton of content per destination, little known facts, travel tips for the different destinations. Get invested in one place. You're learning about it as you're posting about it, and then your clients learning about it as well. And then I mentioned this earlier in a different capacity, but partner with fitness studios and outdoor shops, right? You'd be surprised the following some other spaces have that they are thinking about this and they just don't have anyone to help them with. Whether that be a fitness studio, this might be a crystal shop, it might be a restaurant or an Italian restaurant. I see them all over locally. Italian restaurants are always running tourist Italy. I don't, maybe this is just like a localized regional thing, but it's happening all the time. Um, Run an event in your Total Wine for an immersive Italy tour. If you have Total Wines by you, they have open spaces that you can use to bring in groups, right? That's why I use that specifically. But wine, Italy, it goes hand in hand, right? The thinking there's your parent groups locally. I have she's a teacher at our high school where she runs group travel for the older students. She's taking them to Greece this year. She then does more adventure travel with them. They do more exciting things. They get immersed in the cultures. You find the spaces to build this into, partner with different spaces, and you could have an endless line of business. And don't wait to be an expert. Learn as you go. That's a great way. When I said focus on 1 month at a time, that's a great way to do that. Okay, I mentioned earlier, but how do you learn more? Again, Adventure Travel Trade Association, they're a great a tool for that. Get to know your supplier partners that offer adventure travel or offer adventure type excursions that you can learn more about. Do their education, their training programs, and just ask some of the supplier partners, hey, what do you offer in the adventure space? Or search, what do you offer in the adventure space? Get into the communities on Facebook and different spaces, see where their adventure travel groups are. I know there's a ton of them on Facebook, but they're in other spaces as well. Find the people as you're learning more, learn from somebody that's a little bit more experienced than you is a great way to dip your toes in. And look up the different eco organizations, sustainability certificates and resources and what's offered out there. But just take one action to start. Don't overwhelm yourself. Baby steps. If this is something you want to get into, there's some great ways to do it. So again, this is my on board with, you are missing the curve. People want meaning and movement, and you are the person that's going to be able to bring their dreams of maybe that's safari, or maybe for me, how I say it's cruising the Greek Isles in a little baby yacht. That is, you're making it a reality for them, and that's really important. So, what's your next step? What kind of adventure travel do you want to offer? What questions do you have about adventure travel? I'm going to stop sharing for a bit. And see what are you like, what are your thoughts on adventure travel? Have you gotten into it just yet? Are you thinking about it? Are you scared? Things